Good morning, everyone. So far, we have one person on. And Samantha, welcome to the week one live session. My name is Paula White, and I will be your lecturer for this mod, for this course. I want to go through an introduction and show you a schedule. Again, my name is Paula White, and we're going to be having these sessions weekly, beginning at 11 a.m. Mountain Time each Monday. And everyone involved in who's in the classes for my class, Jeannie Goodwin's class, Natasha Robinson's class, Matt Thomas, Richard Zollinger, and Carrie Litt's courses are certainly welcome to attend the live lecture at 11 a.m. And what happens on these other days, on Monday at 3:30 and Wednesday at 11, 6 on Wednesday, Thursday at 8 p.m., and Friday at 9 a.m., students in each one of these sessions are welcome to pop in on any of these sessions. My session just happens to be the first one, and it will be the actual lecture that's given for this course, the 1 hour live lecture. The other sessions, you might ask, well, what's going to happen for those sessions? That's where you can pop in and actually spend some time one-on-one with Jeannie Goodwin, and she's a faculty member also teaching this exact same course. So if you are in Carrie Litt's class, you can go into Jeannie Goodwin's session if 3:30 p.m. on Mondays work best for your schedule instead of 9 a.m. on Friday mornings. Everyone has the ability and access to click on and join any one of these sessions. It's just that my session, the first one, will be a lecture format like you're used to, and the other 5 will be sessions with an instructor so that you will be able to ask your questions one-on-one. There might be another student or two in that session along with you, but they'll be listening to your interaction with the faculty member, and many times your questions will be their questions. So it's more like a private tutoring session with your faculty. And I think that's pretty cool. So Samantha, am I coming through loud and clear for you? Yeah, so Samantha's the representative for everyone in these 6 courses. That's quite exciting, Samantha. So let's continue on. Another excellent resource of support is Marianne Stratford. She is assigned to all of our accounting courses, Accounting 101, for this mod. This is her email address, marianne.stratford@stevenshenniger.edu. Her Skype is mer.strat1, and her Skype phone number is 801-717-9956. And she is the student support person that you're used to going to anyway through Shark. So her hours are Tuesday 4 to 8 p.m., Wednesday 4 p.m. to 7, same hours on Thursday. Friday is 4 p.m. to 10, and Saturday from 5 p.m. to midnight. And as she says, we are here to help you succeed. So that's her tagline, but we all are here to help you succeed. So all the faculty, as well as Marianne Stratford and her services, we're all here to help you. So today's agenda, We're going to go a tour of the class. What's going to happen? How does the class look? What is expected? And what should you expect from us? And then I'm going to go into some advice to be successful. And then we're going to go into the details of Chapter 1 and Chapter 2. And then I'm going to give you an overview of the homework assignment, give you a little start on that, and then have any questions. And I'm going to keep looking at the chat box as Samantha and anyone else who shows up today, and I'll be answering their questions throughout the session. So Samantha, your questions do not have to wait until the very end. I'll be looking for you throughout the course, throughout the lecture. Is that okay? Hey, good. We're communicating. Good. Okay, so let's take a tour of the classroom. Hopefully it looks pretty much like yours. It has the 9 boxes, the course overview, should go into the course intro and expectations, have your instructor's picture on it with the contact information. And this course actually is the first accounting course in your curriculum. It will explain the basic principles of the accounting cycle, demonstrate the use of T accounts in transaction analysis. You're going to know how to prepare journal entries and post to the ledger, and demonstrate and understand the use of the worksheet and adjusting entries. These 4 objectives are what you will be able to accomplish by the end of these 4 weeks. And I know right now you don't know any of them, and that's okay. That's what we're going to be helping you understand and work through. So let's go back to the home. And that's my mug shot, Polaroid. So the syllabus has my information on it. It has each of your individual faculty members' information on it. The course credit hours is 3 hours, 4 weeks, 40 hours of instructions, 10 hours per week. And you should plan on 20 hours a week of outside of class activity to support your learning. And here's the expected course hours, expected recommended resources for outside study. It's right here listed in your grade book. Grading. The grading point scale, as you well know, is 90 and above is the A category, 80 to 90 is the Bs, 70 to 80s are Cs, and we don't really want to talk about the Ds, but they are 60 up to 69.9. And we don't want to talk at all about the below 60s. Just don't be there. Don't be in the, do not reach to become the D or F categories. Assignments are due Saturday, 11:59 p.m. Mountain Time. Now, I always get kind of mixed up because I'm in the West Coast, so I'm always an hour off. Right now it's 10:11 my time, but it's 11:11 Mountain Time. Do not get caught in that trap. If you happen to be in a time zone that is not Mountain Time. The daily checkpoints are those quizzes, and they're opened at midnight in the wee hours of the morning, and you only have 24 hours to answer that one checkpoint. You do not have the ability to do 5 or 6 checkpoints in one sitting. There's a checkpoint established to be opened each day, and that same checkpoint is closed each day. So that's an easy way, though, to get 5 points times 28, really. So it's an easy way of getting your points. Do not ignore your daily checkpoints. Late assignments will be accepted up to 1 week from the due date, but it will have a 20% deduction in grade. So if you want to succeed, keep current, keep up to date on everything. And I want to implore to you that accounting is not a course that you can let slip by and then do a marathon Saturday night on the 4th week and get everything done. You will not be able to grasp the concept and be able to apply it to successfully complete the course if you do that. So my advice to you is to stay on top of it. Do your checkpoints daily. Begin your experience by reading the textbook and then listening to the mega lectures and then hopping into these sessions that I was showing you here. If you still have questions, then you can hop into these sessions. They're always better to hop into these sessions after you're prepared, after you come in with the textbook read and the mega lectures watched. Because we can fix confused. It's very difficult to fix no confusion. If you come in with a blank slate, it's hard for us to fill the blank slate and get you to understand. But education and understanding comes with some persistence. Okay, so that's my, okay, so tour of the class. Let's go to tour of the class. Okay, continuing on. Your discussion forums, your initial discussion needs to be posted by Wednesday midnight. And then by Saturday midnight, you're supposed to have at least 2 other substantial responses to other students' posts. And that does actually contribute to your points. You do get points for the discussion forum. And right here, weekly participation is expected. You must log into your course 4 out of 7 days. And you'll be graded on attendance and participation in this course. So character, teamwork, attitude, organizational skills, communication, and cooperation, these are parts of what you're going to be graded on in addition to accounting knowledge. Okay, so let's go back to the home page. And we already clicked on to live session, or you wouldn't have been on here. Clicking on the live session is also the same place that you get the live sessions with the faculty members for your instructional help. Okay, and you're familiar with Shark, and that's where you get access to Marion with the Student Support Center. Now let's look at week 1. This is the course home. Well, at the top of this is your course home, intro and expectations. Your textbook should be right here under Vital Source. Mega course lecture videos. Let's click on that because that will be one of your best friends. These are short videos designed to explain the key concepts for each week. And it says, feel free to watch them as many times as you'd like. They're available 24/7. Pause, rewind, and take notes as you view them. There's several, looks like. Week 1, you have 3 of these videos, but don't freak out. The videos are not an hour each. This one happens to be, it looks like 58 seconds.
Our collaborative time would be primarily spent with lecture and some question.
Let's go back to lecture videos. Okay, so that's just, the first one was just an introduction, and then understanding what accounting is and the rules. It will only be a few minutes. See, it's 5 minutes long. So you can do a 5-minute video. I'm going to post, see how long the transaction analysis one is. So this one's 16 minutes long. So a few minutes, you can listen to them over and over again. And week 2 has 1 video, week 3 has 1, and week 4 has 1. We will be covering 5 chapters of the textbook in this course. 2 will be this week, and the other 3 weeks will each cover 1 chapter apiece. Okay. So continuing on, we showed you where the textbook should be under Vital Source ebook. The mega course lecture videos are under Course Home. Here again is the live lecture schedule. There's your Student Success Center. And for like this week, you have the language of business and analyzing business transactions. There's readings and tools. You have a spot where you introduce yourself to your faculty member and the class. You have a discussion. You have a week 1 assignment, which we will go over at the end of this session. And you have a weekly test. This is the week 1 assessment. And then you can practice for that assessment through the practice quiz for chapters 1 and 2. So you can practice and practice and practice, and then take the assessment, and then you do the assignment. And that is how we do week 2 and week 3. Week 4 will not have a discussion. You'll have a reflection on how this course went for you, and you'll have a final exam. The final exam isn't one of those that you can click on, take a quick look at it, click off of it, because when you click back in, you won't be able to get in. You need to, when you want to take the final exam, get yourself all prepared, and then click on final exam and take the exam. There's no ability to open it up a second time. Okay? Let's see if there's any questions from Samantha. Are you good, Samantha? Any questions? Oh, she says she's good and no questions yet. Okay. So let's go back to the PowerPoint. So on the tour of the class, I showed you where the mega lectures are, how to get onto this online session, and this session will be recorded and uploaded as an announcement by your faculty member. So all sessions will be hearing the same hour lecture. We talked about the discussion forums, the daily checkpoints, and the homework. We're going to go over the homework in detail, what's expected toward the end, and the final exam. Start only one time, cannot be reset. So that's a tour of the class. Now, this is Paula White's advice for success in accounting and in any accounting class. Again, Accounting 101 is not a course you can start Saturday in week 4 at 4:30 in the afternoon and expect to succeed. You need the 4 weeks to absorb the information, to make it yours, and to understand the concepts. You're going to have to work the whole 4 weeks for this course. Read the textbook is my advice. Watch those mega lectures. Keep up with the course daily. Do not lose points for late work. Participate in these online sessions. And remember, the Student Success Team is here to help, as well as your faculty members. So now I'm going to cover Chapter 1 and Chapter 2, and then do an overview of the homework. Somehow I lost Chapter 1 and Chapter 2. Technology. Oh, here's Chapter 1. Okay, so accounting, it is the language of business. Even if you don't think you want to be an accountant, you need to know the language so that you in your career can talk to the accounting department and get the information you need in order to run your department, to do the tasks assigned to you as a professional. So you need to know the language that we use. So you'll be able to communicate with the accounting department. Again, I think a successful person in business is one that actually can communicate with multiple disciplines within business. I can talk marketing, I can talk operations management, I can talk accounting and finance. I can talk strategy. But I've developed that skill. You have to also develop the skill of being able to talk accounting, even if you may be going into marketing, let's say. So the section objectives is to define what accounting really is, identify and discuss career opportunities in accounting, and who are the users of financial information. So if you're running a business, you need to answer some questions, like how much cash does a business have? Right now, I'm launching, with a business partner, I'm launching a new book and a publishing company. So how much cash we have in the business is a crucial answer to get. How much money do customers owe us? That means our customer, in our case, has our book, but have they paid for it yet? So how much money do our customers owe us? What is the cost of the merchandise that we sell? How much did our books cost us that we're selling to the public? And what is the change in sales volume? So we know what we sold in May of 2015. Hopefully that changed, will be changed and we can sell more in June and July, but hopefully May sales were greater than April sales. So what is the change in sales volume? And how much money do we owe suppliers that we purchased services from or materials from? And at the end, what is our profit? Did we make money or did we lose money? So the question now becomes, what exactly is accounting? And looks like Samantha's still good. Okay, so what is accounting? Accounting is the process, and remember, it's a process by which financial information about a business, all those questions we just asked were financial information about a business. How much cash do I have in the bank? How much does our customers owe us? How much do we owe to our vendors? Did we make profit or loss? That's all information about a business. So accounting is the process by which financial information about a business is classified, recorded, summarized, interpreted, and communicated to owners, managers, and other interested parties. So we're going to be doing classification in this class, recording in this class. We're going to summarize accounting information. We're going to interpret it. And using the financial statements, we're going to communicate. So these action verbs will be able to be accomplished by each and every one of you at the end of this 4 weeks. And you're going to communicate to owners, managers, and other interested parties. So what do you think other interested parties might be? Start thinking. I think there's a maybe not. Other interested parties, do you have any idea who might be an interested party? A bookkeeper would be an interested party on the inside of the business. A manager and an owner certainly would be on the inside of the business, would be an interested party. Would people you buy from be interested in your financial condition? I would probably say they would, because if they sell to you, would you be able to pay them? Would you be interested? If I was a company that needed your product and it was critical, there's only 2 companies in the world that produce the product that you produce, and I am developing a product and a division on one product that has to use your product as one of its ingredients, then that is a level of interest. The customer would be interested in knowing the condition of your business because their future is dependent on your financial stability. Also, if you buy a car from a car dealership, you want to know if the car is going to be able to be serviced, or will the car dealership be out of business in 2 days? So various people need to know. Also, we have these government agencies like the IRS and the state Secretary of State's office who want to collect taxes. So they're also interested in your financial information. If you're in a state that has unions would be interested in financial information. So what are some career opportunities in accounting? There are many jobs available, and some examples are accounting clerk, bookkeeper, and accountant. Now, what is managerial or private accounting? It involves working for a single company to establish accounting policies, to provide financial advice to management, to manage the accounting system, to prepare and interpret financial statements, and to prepare tax forms and do tax planning. And you can get jobs. I've had jobs that focus on each of these areas. At 7-Up, we provided financial advice to management as they would do an analysis on acquiring bottling companies, establishing accounting policies. Should we expense small supplies $500 or less, or $200 or less? How do we account for things within the company? I've managed accounting systems. I've prepared financial statements, and I've done taxes. These are all very important things for businesses to have professional hands doing this type of work. And prepare internal reports for management. Government accounting involves keeping financial records and preparing financial reports as part of the staff of federal, state, or local governmental units. We have the SEC, we have the IRS, FBI, Homeland Security. Now, I want to talk a little bit about this. The SEC is the gatekeeper for the information that is submitted to the public on publicly traded companies. I think we know who the IRS is, the Internal Revenue Service, FBI, Federal Bureau of Investigation, and Department of Homeland Security. If you happen to be under a certain age, I think it's 39, and have been with the military and are able to handle firearms, there's actually accounting jobs within the IRS and Department of Homeland Security that you are able to go in on raids to drug lords or to tax evaders. You can go in on raids in those particular areas, and your job is to pick up everything that's computerized, any electronic medium, all papers, because you're trying to find the money. You will be the forensic accountant working on some major cases, and you actually have to use firearms on your job too. So it just doesn't have to be an accountant that you imagine from television. You can actually have some pretty exciting jobs. And I've loved every job I've had in accounting. Okay, so identify users of financial information inside the business and outside the business. So I think we did a little bit of this already. We have the inside the business would be owners, managers, and employees. Outside would be tax authorities and suppliers, regulatory agencies like IRS, SEC, unions, as well as customers, investors, and the banks want to know your financial information. Especially if you want to get a loan from them, they will need to analyze on their own perspective. They need to analyze how strong you are. And if they do lend you money, will you be able to pay interest and the principal back? Sarbanes-Oxley is also called SOX, S-O-X, Sarbanes-Oxley. This ad this act led to a major change in regulatory environment, and it was designed as a regulatory crackdown on corporate fraud and corruption. You may have remembered this back with Enron, WorldCom, and those crises. Sarbanes-Oxley was Congress's response to those meltdowns of some major corporations in America. Yes, corporate greed needs to be cracked down on. So part 2 of chapter 1 talks about the language of business. And this section's objective is to compare and contrast 3 types of business entities and describe the process used to develop generally accepted accounting principles. Okay, 3 major legal forms of a business entity are a sole proprietorship, a partnership, and a corporation. So let's just kind of go over this chart. A sole proprietorship is one owner. The life of the business ends when the owner is unable to carry on, dies, or closes a company. The responsibility for the business debts, if the firm is unable to pay, falls on the owner. It's the easiest form of business to form, because you can wake up one day and say, I'd like to develop a business selling a certain product. And you can start it from your extra bedroom in your residence. Because it's one owner, it's the easiest to set up. But you do need accounting information for that to be successful. A partnership requires 2 or more individuals. The life of the partnership ends when a partner dies or closes the firm or withdraws. If you have Sam and Sally as 2 partners of a 2-partner partnership, and Sam decides to sell to Bob, then by his withdrawing and selling it to another partner, it's really forming a new partnership. And the responsibility of the business if debts of the firm are unable to pay, it falls on the shoulders of the partners individually and jointly. And the last one is corporations. Ownership, you can have one owner or thousands of owners. The life continues indefinitely, and the corporate life ends when the business goes bankrupt or the stockholders vote to liquidate and close the business down. The corporation responsibility for the business debts as the firm is unable to pay. The stockholders can lose only the amount that they invested. Think of owning stock in Apple Computing. You know how much you pay for the stock. You know how many shares you own of the stock. If the corporation if the stockholders votes to liquidate, then the amount that you pay for that stock, if you tried to sell the stock, there would be no one to buy it because you liquidated the company. Or if the company was going downhill fast and going to go bankrupt, no one's going to want to pay anything for your shares of stock. Therefore, the value of the stock would be 0. So you only can lose what you paid into the stock. And that's an important limitation to ownership. Okay, so what is GAAP? Generally Accepted Accounting Principles, and why do you hear about it so much? Well, these are the accounting standards that are developed and applied by professional accountants. And I'm just going to go through this image here. The FASB board, the Financial Accountant Standards Board, FASB, they meet, and their step one is they issue discussion memorandum. Step two is to obtain responses to the memorandum. And the responses will be coming from interested parties, public accounting firms, the AICPA, and the Securities and Exchange Commission, as well as accountants in the industry. So they issue a discussion memorandum. Let's discuss this issue. They obtain responses to that discussion. Step three is to issue an exposure draft. Given all of our responses, this is what came forth, and this is our recommendation. Once they issue an exposure draft, then the next step is to obtain responses to the exposure draft, and either it goes into a statement and issuing a statement of principle, or it goes through the circle again because it wasn't adequately vetted out yet. So a lot of information, a lot of effort is used up to develop generally accepted accounting principles. Now, generally accepted accounting principles, just the title hopefully indicates that if you look at a financial statement from General Motors and from Toyota USA and from Chrysler, that the accounting standards, the accounting rules that were used underneath in order to develop these financial statements, the rules that were used are the same for all three companies. Generally accepted standards. That way, information can be comparable across companies within the same industry and across industries. And that's very important. And that's chapter 1. So, Samantha, are you good with chapter 1 as far as an introduction to accounting? She says she thinks so. So she's speaking for everyone. So let's go and get the next chapter up. Okay. So let's continue. So analyzing business transactions. So these objectives is to record in an equation form the financial effects of a business transaction, define, identify, and understand the relationship between asset liabilities and owner equity accounts. So, steps to analyze the effect of a business transaction. Basically, we have to identify the property. What is actually happening? Identify the property, identify who owns the property, and the amount of increase or decrease from this financial event. And there's an equation that has to stay in balance. And that equation is the asset or the property has to always equal the financial interest in that asset. So if you own a house would be over here under property, but the house is either owned by you, by the bank, or by a combination of both. So it's pretty straightforward. So we just use the word assets. So what are assets? It's basically property owned and controlled by a business. What are liabilities? Liabilities are debts or obligations that a business needs to pay. It's a liability. It's your student loan. It's your American Express bill, Visa, MasterCard. It's your loan to your parents. It's what you owe other people. That's liabilities. Owner's equity is the term used by a sole proprietor. It's the financial interest of an owner of a business. It's also called proprietorship or net worth. Okay, so the next question is, what is a balance sheet? It's a formal report of the financial position of a business on a certain date. It reports the assets, liabilities, and owner's equity of the business. So this is an example right here of a balance sheet. You can tell Wells Consulting Services balance sheet, and this is as of November 30th. So they have $83,000 in cash, they have $1,500 in supplies, prepaid rent $8,000, and they own $11,000 in equipment, and this totals $103,500. They owe other people, other businesses, they owe $3,500, and Carolyn Wells is the owner, and her capital account is $100,000. Now remember, we said the assets equals the financial resources of the business. So 103,500 equals 103,500. So this is what we own, this is what we owe, and this is our ownership in what we can control and own. So assets are owned by either other people or the owners. 103,500 equals 103,500. And assets equals liabilities plus equity will never change in all of these accounting courses. So assets is the amount and types of property owned by the business. Liabilities is what you owe others. Equity is the owner's interest. So now the accounting equation and financial statements. And the objectives include the effects of business transactions on a firm's assets, liabilities, and owner's equity. And how do we record these effects in the accounting equation form? Prepare an income statement and prepare a statement of owner's equity and balance sheet. So we have, in accounting terms, the firm's assets must equal the total of its liabilities and owner's equity. And we just kind of showed you that with the 103,500 assets has to equal the 3,500 amount due in the liabilities and the $100,000 that Carolyn Wells owns of the company. This equality can be expressed in an equation as assets equals liabilities plus owner's equity. This equation will never change. A equals L plus E. So the entire accounting process of analyzing, recording, and reporting transactions is based on this fundamental equation. If any two parts of this equation are known, you can back into the third. Now, analyze the effect of business transactions on a firm's assets, liabilities, and owner's equity, and record these effects in an accounting equation form. So what is revenue? Revenue is an inflow of money or other assets that results from the sale of goods or services or from the use of money or property. It's called income. So when we launch our book, it would be all the payments that other people make to us in order to acquire the book. It's our book sales. If you own property and you lease out the property, it would be lease payments, the rent payments that if you rent an apartment, it would be the rent payments received by the property manager. When they receive your rent, that is their income, rental income. That's revenue. So what is an expense? An expense is an outflow of cash, use of other assets, or incurring of a liability. So in our case with the book, our expenses are, we have a public relations firm. We had to get the book edited. We had to get it formatted to ebook formats. We had to get a cover design. We had to get it printed and delivered. So all those are expenses. It's an outflow of cash or use of other assets or incurring of a liability. So what is an income statement? An income statement is a formal report of a business operation covering a period of time. A balance sheet was as a moment in time. An income statement is for a period of time. It's also called a profit and loss statement or a P&L or a statement of income and expenses. And this is what it looks like. An income statement has 3-line heading, Wells Consulting Services income statement, and this is for the month ended. It could be for the quarter ended. This is a period of time. Remember, the balance sheet just had Wells Consulting balance sheet, and it only had the date. It did not say month ended. It just said December 31st. And you can see here that it includes revenue, fees, income, and 2 expenses totaling $86.50. And the net income is revenue minus the expenses is $38,350. Statement of owner's equity would be Karen Wells owned $100,000 in the business. She has net income of $38,350 within this period. We just saw that on the income statement. And she withdrew $5,000 out of the business for her own personal use. So that was a net increase of $33,350 to $38,350 of net income. Then she took $5,000 out for personal use. So the net of $33,350. So now her capital account has a balance of $133,350. And this is what the balance sheet looks like now. This is the list of the assets. You still owe the $3,500 in liabilities, and your owner's equity. You just calculated the $133,350, and you know $136,850 equals $136,850. The accounting equation is still in balance. Okay, a little bit about the formatting here. We have, a single line above the subtotal and a double line below the subtotal. So the single line shows that the amounts above it are being added or subtracted, and the double line at the bottom indicates the final amounts for the column or section of the report. It also indicates that you've added it and everything is correct arithmetically. Okay, we're almost done here. This is the last one. This shows all three together, and this is also in your textbook. You start with your income statement with money in from your customers and expenses out, coming up with net income. Net income comes down to statements of owner's equity, which begins with the Carolyn Wells capital beginning, net income minus the withdrawals, gets an ending balance of capital of $133,350, which then translates into your balance sheet as of December 31st. These are the revised numbers as of December 31st. You still owe $3,500, and her capital account is the revised $133,350, which comes up to total liabilities and equity of $136,850, which equals all of the assets of $136,850. So this shows you how the three statements reflect together or react together. And it shows you that assets equals liabilities plus equity. Assets of 136 equals 3,500 plus the 133,350 equals 136,850. That has to happen. So, and that's the end of chapter 2. But probably what you're really interested in, let's see if Samantha's had any questions. I don't see her having any questions yet. But if I were you all, I would be interested in what I have to do for my homework. So let's go back to the home. Back to week 1. And week 1 assignment. So week 1 assignment basically says, using the Excel workbook provided, identify the accounts affected in the sample business transactions. Be careful to identify the correct increase-decrease accounts. Use proper account names from the list provided in the template. And then it tells you how to submit the assignments. So why don't we see what this template looks like? I just clicked on week 1 template, and you just saw my arrow come down, and here's the file. I'm going to double click, opening up the template. And I'm going to click on Enable Editing. And this should be as easy as it looks for me, should be as easy as it is for you. If you do have some issues with opening up the software, then you need to make sure that you get the Excel software on your laptop, because this should be as easy as it is for me. You should be having the same experience. So week 1, let's just page down here, week 1. So we have these things to do, and then we have extra credit. Wow, we have a potential for 10 points of extra credit. So let's see what we can do here. I'm going to move Samantha up here so I can see if she responds. So using the accounts listed below, what we're talking about are these, oops, what we're looking for are these account titles: cash, accounts receivable, supplies, prepaid rent, computer equipment, office equipment. Accounts payable: J. Jones Capital, J. Jones Drawing, fees, income, utilities expense, rent expense, salaries expense. These are the exact words that we are expecting in the yellow boxes. The yellow boxes are where we are expecting input from you. Okay? So using the accounts listed below, identify the account affected given the increase and decrease information. Notice here it's just the account title. We're not asking for numbers yet. So in the example, it says, issue a check to pay the current month's rent. So check and rent would probably be the important two words to pick out of the sentence. So what account here sounds like rent? I see two. I see a prepaid rent here, and I see a rent expense here. But they said the current month's rent. So it's not prepaying, because prepaying kind of feels at this stage that is for the future, not for the current. So that's why we choose rent expense for the first line, because the account increased is rent expense. Now, what decreased? What happens when you write a check in your own personal life? What happens to your checking account? Does it go down? It goes down in my life. So whenever I write a check, that equates to a decrease in cash. Yes, Samantha said cash goes down. So account decrease is cash. So basically, we have all these yellow boxes to fill out in your homework, and that's your homework for this week. So let's just choose one. How about number one? We start a business. The owner, you, invest your personal cash savings into the business. So account increased. What account, if you put your own personal cash into the business, and we're talking the business accounting, what would increase? Yes, cash. So I would say account increase would be cash. Good job, Samantha. Now the second one, you're the owner and you're investing your cash into the business. So is owner's investment in assets? I don't think it is. Owner's investments are not in payables, because that's paying, you owe that money to other people. I would probably think it's one of these two accounts. J. Jones Capital or J. Jones Drawing. Yes, you're correct, Samantha. It's J. Jones Capital. And I'm pretending I'm a student doing this. So J, Jones, comma, Capital. That's exactly what I would do, and I would go to the next one. Now, I do want to tell you that here we have account increase, account increase. We have account increase, account decreased. We have account increase, 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 decrease, increase, decrease, decrease, decrease. These are correct. So I've seen students edit these increase and decrease sections, but don't do that, because those are already correct. In this class, you're going to be filling in the yellow boxes in all of your homework assignments. So with that, I will ask the representative for this session if she feels comfortable with the materials presented and feels comfortable with her confidence as she can do week one's homework assignment. So Samantha, how goes it? She's not typing at me. Well, I will go ahead and say, take advantage of reading the book, the mega lectures. This will be uploaded to the announcement section by each one of your faculty members. She says she's not going to lie. Accounting is a little overwhelming for me, probably for most everyone else in the class, but once she reached chapter 1, she thinks she will be okay. And also, Samantha, if you start getting anxious, reach out to those online sessions, reach out to your instructor, and reach out to the success folks within Shark. And then she says, in chapter 2, certainly. Basically, take it one step at a time and take it every day, and it will happen for you, Samantha. So with that, I will stop the recording. And